All right, guys, here we're talking about episode 14, season 9 of The Walking Dead.
And this is it. We're finally going to find out. What's up with the scars? What's that thing? What's your dark secret? What's the thing you won't tell people? What's that thing you don't understand? We had to do it. You don't know what it was like. You don't. I don't regret it. You don't get it, man. And here we are. We finally know.
So the scars couldn't have been less impressive because it was like, well, what were they? We got branded for no reason or whatever.
We got branded in that exact.
I do love the children thing. I think that's a great angle.
Yep.
I spent the first minute going, is that Tara from fucking True Blood?
And okay.
It definitely is. I didn't look it up, but it definitely is.
I looked it up because I wrote, who is this actress? I hate her.
Is it her?
It is Tara from True Blood. Something about her voice when she pronounces certain words like bothers me.
So like the first time it shows her when she's like when she first gets, she's like, Michonne, I know you. I'm like, that bitch is so familiar. Who the fuck is that?
Yeah, exactly.
And then my mind was like scanning everything I'd ever seen in my life.
Yeah, that was I actually looked up to not cheat. I go, is that this person from that? And I look up that. And then I find their page from True Blood, and then I scroll down looking for Walking Dead.
Oh, okay, so you don't get any spoilers accidentally.
Yeah, because I hate being like if you looked up Walking Dead, you might see 3 episodes or something like, wait, what the fuck? Like you might ruin it for you. So
no, that is a good tactic. Yeah.
Anyway,
I doubt she's in anymore.
It turns out that it was moot if I just waited longer, but yes.
Yeah, I don't even know what So. I'm going to say I liked the idea of children, like murderous children.
Sure.
And other than that, everything was really dumb.
Great.
Because
so I was worried that this would be one of those cases
they
where
were happily welcoming you into their society. You could have just stayed and been safe forever. I don't know. I don't understand what people's constant thing is where they go, well, this isn't a realistic life. No one can live like this. I'm like, they are. Why must you try to tear it down and lose? Like, you could have had it all. Like, why all of a sudden must you backstab your friend? What are you doing that for? What are you gaining? You're gaining to be on the run with all their supplies that you could easily lose at any time. And the idea of this children warrior thing only works if you've also lost a whole bunch on the way. How are they practicing? How are they? Because it's like they've gotten good. You can only get good by learning, and if you're learning, anytime you mess up, you die.
The whole. So like, okay. If I start like at the end, this is all just some thing of like, how can we make this the worst thing possible? Okay, it's like Michonne has to like kill kids because she thinks her kid is dead. It's like what is like technically the worst thing that's ever possible could happen or some shit like that, right? So like then you have to like
dumb is what I would say. Not what is the dumbest thing we could do? How about we send a pregnant woman in there?
Okay, no. So like okay, the characters on the episode are making dumb bad choices, right?
Yeah.
But like the writers are like, okay, there has to be this dark thing, something that would make her like turn her back on like all of Rick and Carl's like stuff and just like completely 180 and change everything. So we have to have like one of her best friends show up out of the blue.
A best friend we don't care about or know as a thing.
Or know at all, and then like betray her
in the same episode.
Yeah, like instantly. We get like 2 scenes with her, and she changes her entire personality and her entire affect like 100%. She becomes like a supervillain, cult leader, horrible person.
For what reason? I still don't understand.
I was like laughing out loud. I was like, oh my God, or something like that. Like it's this whole Peter Pan society where they kidnap your kids and then steal your stuff, and that's their that's their move. Like I don't understand. And so she was like pretending the whole time. She was like mortally wounded, but keeping up this act of still being who Michonne would assume she'd probably end up being if this didn't happen, but secretly was like go do this. I'm giving orders and changing how I act and all. So awful. It was so hammy
it's so
and bad.
Unrealistic and dumb. Just for the sake of that twist to make this something that that could plausibly make her shut down from society. But it's why not set this up over some time? Because we know this is the past to begin with. So you could have made in each episode a flashback and keep going and build this friendship and explore their former friendship and how that's got them to where they are. And then we would know she died because she's not in the present, and we could assume in all that time that like, oh, maybe her death is what made her shut down from the outside.
You might think something happened or whatever, right? So so like go back all these episodes. Rick's gone. You set up like flashbacks, short ones that like recur occur where they like run into her old friend. She talks about the thing. You find out that she's been keeping these kids safe. Like little by little things happen, right? So you as the audience, like assume whatever horrible thing happened must have been something that bad, that happened to them, as opposed to them doing something bad to you or whatever, right? Sure. Yes. Anything. It's so crazy.
Also, though, like playing a game with like, can we make the wig worse each episode? Did it stand out to you this episode? They're, like, especially in this flashback, because like they had to bring back her old style hair.
Yeah.
And it just like, so in the future, her hairline changed dramatically and just came like all the way down to like her face, which it never was. And in the flashback, it was like braids and like no hair on top almost. Like I'm like, what is this? Just a wig? Like,
yeah.
Come on.
No, I know.
But if we're going into why this was dumb, so the dumbest thing is they kidnapped 4 different children, which have 4 different sets of parents, or at least parent, because you could see there's like an angry bigger dude and some other person, and you're like, okay, these are who the kids were kidnapped.
Yes.
These people should be angry. So they should all have gone.
Yeah.
Then the whole town should want to go because all their food and medical is gone. I don't understand why they're like, okay, we got to make this a sly mission. We'll send 2 people. Daryl, who is our most capable, and maybe our most pregnant. We should send her too.
Maybe our like pregnant leader should go. Like I understand, and like maybe they could have done something where like they do all go search like different places and then they find them here or something like that, but they didn't do that.
The only smart way to separate this is for Michonne to go, no, we can't let the rest of the town know. They're going to lose confidence and blah blah. We get it back quietly.
Right.
And even that's dumb, because why would you ever risk that? You're risking the lives of everybody there by saying, yeah, we don't have medical or food. What do you want that stuff?
No, it's so crazy.
It's not like this is also the past when they all had like working guns presumably, and did not bring any of them.
Yeah, no, this is awful. I hate this so much. I should have like summed up all of my horrible thoughts about it as opposed to just taking notes about like what happened or whatever. But even them branding them is stupid.
That's what I'm saying. Like we already set up to the scar. We have to figure out how you got that scar. How about we brand them for no reason at all?
Well, and then
with an X.
And there's a line
because we're the X-Men.
There's a line later about gifted youngsters. There's a line later about like like the brand and this, and then you do right with what does the kid say? Do you remember?
Something dumb, so I ignored it.
Yeah, she like tells the kid to go. Kill Michonne, and then he says some line that I couldn't even like understand what he said, but it had something about the brand in it or whatever. Like the ones that are branded this, the ones that are do that, the strong survive, blah blah blah.
It was just too dumb to live, and like they set up these kids, and like some of them are like teenagers, and you're like, okay. The other ones are like 4 years old, and they're like, what the fuck? You go kill all the rest. All right, I'm 8. I can. Yeah. One of the kids they took was like double the age of Judith. At least that's what I thought from when they were pulling them apart. I'm like, I don't understand what's happening. They're not even tied up in there. Seemingly, they're just in there.
Judith says like, oh, they made it into a game. We thought it was fine or whatever. And then like Judith comes out, and I'm like, I was so confused because later when
that was the original Judith.
Yeah. No. I wasn't confused because, like, who is that? I was confused because, like, I'm like, well, she would obviously remember. What are you talking about? And then, like, they cut to the conversation where Michonne's like, I thought you didn't remember. And she's like, what the? And so, like in my notes, I'm like, and Judith, remembers because, of course, she would remember.
How
this
old
is the most traumatic
even is she
event that would have
supposed to be
happened.
at that point?
Which point?
In the flashback. It didn't say how far they flashed back. And at one point they said we haven't had outside or whatever for so long, and I could have used that to trace back, but I forget what that was because it was like 6 episodes ago.
So like the time skip, as far as I know, has been 6 years since like Rick's death.
So this is 6 or less because it may not have happened the day Rick died.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. So like it kind of doesn't make sense. I think I'm not sure because she's pregnant with like Rick's baby.
So it's within 9 months of that.
So it's like. I mean, that is Rick's baby, right? Are we saying? Yeah.
So this is like 5.5 years ago, presumably.
Right. And now she's who she is now and that and all that stuff. I don't know. It just, something about it.
I assume it's Rick's baby.
Yeah, right.
And if it's not,
because didn't she like announce that before? She was like, hey, like, guess what? Right, to Rick, and that was part of why I was sad and all that stuff. I think so. But like, so this is like less than a year after Rick's disappearance. This all happened.
She's pretty big, so it's probably close to a year.
Yeah, like the end of it or whatever.
Yeah.
And then
a prime time to go, assaulting people.
And then 5 years later, Judith is just who this is now. And in 5 years, like, no one else mentioned it. Like, maybe she's not telling Judith, but no one else told their kids, or like their kids don't remember, even the kids that were older. And like, even if those parents said, Michonne said not to tell Judith, then like, why would the kids not just tell each other? Shouldn't they talk about it? Like, that was fucked up, wasn't it? Yeah, I know.
How old is Judith even supposed to be?
I don't know. That's what I mean. Looking at that girl and this girl, I feel like that's more than 5 years of growth. It's a different actress, right? So I can't tell. But I don't know, man. This whole thing, thing makes so little sense to me.
Even if you take away the weird math of how old this person is, and let's say she was young enough not to remember, who gives a shit? It's the fact that it's so dumb that is my real problem.
Well, and that's like the emotional payoff. Is like, I thought you were acting like this because you didn't remember, and she's like, no, Mom, I was acting like this because I do remember. Oh shit! It's just, I'm like, what? I'm like, what are we doing? It's like air horn noises and like fuck. I'm like, what are we doing? What are you talking about? Oh my god!
It's the level of coincidence that I hate in that it's someone she knew in her past. The person's also a diabolical mastermind of children.
Yeah.
And it happened so instantaneously for no reason.
Right
like,
after
why?
Rick was gone. And like, it should have been something like, if Rick was here, he would have said no, but she said yes, and that's why they got like took somehow or something like that.
But like,
right?
Rick would have taken them in.
Yeah, and like Carl's whole manifesto.
Carl would have 100% taken them in.
Was like,
Carl would have changed their minds.
Yeah, well, no, Carl was like, oh wait, like all these kids, we need to do this or something like that. It would have been this whole thing. And like, what broke down that allowed like a gang of kids to like steal all their supplies in the first place? Like, they snuck in, I guess, but like, people are patrolling, stuff's happening. This is
they killed one person.
Okay, yes, they killed one guy
one
who
old
was
guy who we've never seen before.
Yes, one guy who was like standing guard.
And then they stood in his blood long enough to get a trail directly to how they got out.
Sure.
Because they couldn't leave the gates because that would have been guarded.
I did like that shot of like panning over to like the manhole cover with like a bar on it, and then it cuts to it like not with a bar on it, and then it goes from there. Like, that was cool. So if we're talking about things that we like,
no, I agree.
There's a few things like that I was like, okay.
I also like. So as much as I do enjoy the idea that it is an army of children, because I do think that's creepy, and like, you might get caught off guard and cut or killed even by something, because you're trying to really not murder children if you can avoid it. I was waiting for them to cut to Daryl just fucking destroying kids, and he did, but it was off camera because he came back and his knives were covered in blood, so he got some,
he was like,
but you didn't see it. Michonne, though, on camera, you see her like brutalize children, like, stop. But honestly, they came close to killing both of them. Like, if Daryl didn't use did Daryl use his fingernail to fucking cut the rope? You saw him like going like this, and I'm like, what is he doing?
Trying to cut it, yeah.
But he got out. He tied up that one kid. So they didn't kill everyone because they tied up that one kid. So presumably, if they left him there, he died of just being starved.
I literally thought so like, I do that thing where I'm like, the fucking thing. So like, he says, I'll tie this one up like off camera. So at first I mean for like half a second, I thought like, oh good, we have to dub in a line of like, oh good, we he's knocked out or something like that when he's obviously killed this person. But then as like Michonne's getting her stuff and leaving, you see Daryl in the background like tying him up, and I'm like, oh my god, that was always the plan. And then later to like brutally stab people and be like, whatever.
Well,
like,
it wasn't their intention to kill these people, but you're left with little to no choice. Like, they could have easily ended her pregnancy. They took a good swipe into her stomach.
And like,
Daryl got shot in the arm, and we ignored that forever because
acted like nothing happened.
There was no mark later.
No, like, oh god,
and it's a child that shot him. Like, the child, I'm not sure was aiming like, a wound shot. Like, it's a child. Like, he could have easily killed him right then.
Even just by accident could have killed him.
Exactly.
He could have gotten that that wound could have gotten infected, and he could have died anyway. Like,
still could have. Who's to say?
This is the apocalypse.
Who knows? Sometimes they take like 6-7 years.
Maybe a part of the arrowhead is still in there. What was I gonna say? Yeah, so there's like, there's something to that moment of like a kid's like going nuts, and you're like, whoa, stop! Don't make me like escalate the situation or whatever. Like, I get that, and by itself that's fine or whatever. But yes, it's surrounded in this like that is like the eye of the storm of dumbness.
Yeah, with all the convenience and idiocy wrapped around the episode, it kind of takes away the charm of this child army.
Yeah, and they're gone as soon as they like show up. It's just my main thing was, and if I can go through this and make sure, manhole cover transition.
It's the convenience of showing up, being your friend already, and betraying you almost instantaneously while stealing all your supplies. It's too quick.
No,
it's too quick and too convenient.
And a lot of the stuff was sort of dumb, like little things. I made a note of like in like the present day when Judith is missing and all that stuff, and like these are not problems or deal breakers in like normal episodes or whatever, but in the middle of this, like she goes and talks to Negan and then runs back to like Judith's room and like opens a box where she would keep a note, I guess. But like she didn't do that first. I'm like, what are you talking? Like.
Well, she went to check for her gun, which I was like in my head. She always has that gun, and somehow did she not notice she always has the gun? Does she think the gun is kept there for safety? Like I don't know. I don't get it.
I didn't know if it was the gun or the sword. Cause
that was the box.
Box
we saw her when she was first polishing the gun. She found. She put it in that box, and it said Judith on it.
Yeah.
And then that was that same box.
Right.
And I noticed this was for the first time ever. I realized that it's not the same sword. I thought that she had Michonne's sword this whole time.
You mentioned that, and that's why I thought that was the case. But
so it's like when you see like samurai swords hanging, there's always like that one littler sword.
Oh,
it is that sword because it is like a half the size of her regular sword. I don't know what those are called.
Kanto or something.
Yeah, that sounds
has
right.
Has a dumb name. Yeah. Okay, cool, awesome.
Yeah.
I didn't think Michonne had one of those, but that's fine.
She didn't until Judith needed one.
That's
because it also is like the same. So like it is part of the set.
Are they like a matching?
They
set?
look like they are.
All right, I hate that because I didn't notice that, and I hate it. But whatever, that's fine. Maybe the whole thing is a new sword. Maybe they found a sword at the museum or something like that, and they're using it.
Maybe.
Well, it's fine.
I would take one from a museum. I bet the old shit's probably the best.
Oh yeah. They have real swords there sometimes. So depending on which museum. No. It was just like something about the flow of it. Like you filmed the scene of the mother running up the stairs to like the kid's room and like finding the evidence that they're gone, but it felt like totally wrong. It felt like in the wrong sequence of all the scenes, and it didn't make sense with like what's happening or whatever. Like something about so many things like that were all like wrong to me. Like about the episode.
How did you feel about the oh snap moment when she's like, to Negan, did you tell her about how you killed Glenn? Did this all the other bad things? He's like, sure as shit did.
Yeah.
And she just lost all her power of calling him a hypocrite. She's like, oh, well, fuck you then, and then leaves.
And he says it in this awesome way where like he hesitates to be like, I don't really want to say that, and then he kind of goes like, she asks she has questions and I'm there to answer them. So yeah, she does or whatever. It's like, what?
I told her this, I told her that, I told her how Carl killed a whole bunch of my guys like a little badass.
And it's funny to hear all those things, to remember that stuff. Seeing Negan in there too, like at the ready with his like little slippers on and stuff like that is always funny.
I like his little pillow where he reads his books.
Yeah, his little like thing, his little setup. Real quick before we get to the end or like the last complaints or something like that, there is like Henry stuff in this and all that business.
Yeah.
There's very little, honestly.
It's not enough to really account for anything.
No, they show up and they leave. I kind of liked. So like Michonne's kind of a bitch.
Nowadays,
she tries to convince. Like she very like
not subtly at all.
Oh, okay, I was looking for a word like very obviously or very like overtly, I guess.
Superliminally.
Superliminally tries to convince Lydia that it would be best if she just like left or something like that. But again, that's like and this is a good segue to my last point, I guess.
All right.
Like that doesn't make sense because this new enemy has has been identified and they know about your settlements and all of your supplies and all of your good stuff and all that business, right?
You've already lost in quotes. Like the war is gonna happen. Well, I don't know why you want to now separate and tear apart another group that might then go looking for her again and get killed.
Yeah, like a potential, well,
okay, but then it flips the script because she's like, oh, I got my like minivan chariot. Come on, boys, we're going on a ride.
Okay, right.
Which I've never seen that before. I love when new things are introduced. Like did they just build that? Where's that been? I like it a little, but
I love it.
What I would have loved, so if you looked at it though, is that it had the front seat was there, but the back was made into like a wagon.
Yeah.
I think it would have been awesome if it was like a 6-row thing,
the whole body
or
of
whatever
the
the biggest transport minivans are.
That might be too heavy, but that's awesome. Yeah, where they were just.
Well, my thought in general was, I'm like, isn't this a tad heavy for just normal things? I'm like, a car seems like. I guess they probably pulled the engine out.
Oh yeah. And so in my head, like, well, this already has like the axle and the wheels and this and that.
makes
and, like,
sense.
Everything's
Yes.
done already, so why build a new one? Just like slot it in, and it just has that look. It has that Shannara Chronicles future past weird. We're like recovering old stuff.
It's semi-dope. I'm not going to say it's not.
Yeah.
But why also
I'm
take
sure
off
it's
the
also
top?
dumb.
Like,
Yeah.
like I understand you're trying to shave down weight, but I feel like if you're going to gut it, making it so it's no longer like, sealed, making it so it's not zombie-proof anymore, making it so rain would touch you,
Sure.
Animals could get your goods. Like, why not keep it a thing with a trunk and doors? That seems like obvious.
No, it's interesting.
Like, it definitely looks better, but it's far less practical.
Sure, yes. But that's like the motto.
Because even
like,
just
the whole
having
thing,
the wet
whole show.
interior of those seats would just turn to like moldy, horrible messes. Just a thought.
It never rains. What are you talking about?
Not during the show, it doesn't seem
Not
to.
while the show is happening.
But I'm like, are you parking this in a garage each time? Because
Awesome.
what the fuck?
Oh, and you get like a paint job, and it gets like repaired. It's like Grand Theft Auto.
I was just thinking Grand Theft Auto.
Perfect.
But yeah, that's
So
like cool but dumb, but also a contradiction because of her previous statement to then also say, all right, I'm going to help you though.
well, yeah. So like, okay, so that's like.
I guess because she met up with Judith after that meeting.
Yeah. Well, no, that
Did she?
No, but yeah. So like it all goes to the end. She runs after Judith. I kind of like that too, with her looking for Judith in the past and in the present.
Yeah,
Stuff like that's fine.
That worked as a film through line. That was nice.
As a filmy thing.
I don't know what Judith was doing. I had to help my friends. Let me go into a field with zombies. Got him. And did she ride that little bicycle? Were we to believe that little bicycle that Michonne saw that made her turn off the road was what Judith took?
I didn't think that at the time, but that must be
Because she like looked at it, her eyes got a little wider, and she immediately took a turn off the road.
Okay.
And I'm like, was she on a big wheel? Did she just take a big wheel?
Is that a problem for you?
It's a little weird.
Okay.
It's a little weird.
Okay. I don't know. I haven't seen her bike. Wasn't that bike earlier? I don't know. Maybe they showed that shit.
I've never seen her drive it. I've never seen her ride it before, and maybe we have seen it before.
She can't actually drive it. That's why they don't show it.
It's a little weird in general to have tires after like this many years of working through.
Yeah, I try not to be too real, holding them to like realistic. Like you're saying, like rubber dries out and like things pop and
you
stuff.
get a
and they
pop
wear
and
off
like you're really not able to change things out.
Yeah, no, I know.
But also,
It's not the
to their point is that there's probably a tire store that's not looted that you could probably limitlessly replace a lot of things because they're not items you would go to for looting. Like that same way you could probably find jeans and like, why are their clothes not ripped and dirty? Well, they probably just keep taking new ones because a department store probably has a back room that's never been looted and you just take it all.
That was a low priority thing. Or whatever.
Food makes sense. Like all the canned goods, all that shit, yes, that's all gone. Guns, ammo, gone. And but like they said with arrows for archery and this and that, it would make sense you could find a lot of that stuff.
Yeah, because there's like an after party where like of the apocalypse because there's like looting early on.
Yeah.
Then more and more people are dying and all that stuff. Then it's like we've been here for years and like what's around and stuff. Yeah. Mm-hmm. No, like I guess that's her bike. That kind of stinks. But yeah, she went to that field. I was not sure why. She kind of like interrupts her. There's more of that dumb this is like dumb filmy stuff where she has like a cut on her arm too.
How did she get that cut?
Yeah. Now it's like, oh, is it gonna leave a scar? Yes, but if it does, that's
cuts
okay.
and scars, so Henry as we got stabbed in his leg.
Yeah.
And we got like dumb worm sucking bitch just like touching it like, oh yeah, I'm like, what are you doing, you dirty bitch? It's gonna get infected. It's gonna die.
And she's super into it. She's like, I like it. And I'm like,
yeah.
oh shit, this girl's kinky.
I thought she was gonna put her finger into it.
Right?
Like, oh, we're into this. What? Get the hell out of here.
We're into pain. Yeah.
Such a weird bitch.
She is though. I see what Henry sees in her. I like a nice weird bitch.
Did we miss anything else that happened?
Well, no. So like, what I was building towards with my other thing with the segue and all that other business was talking about like, I forget how it connected now, but like, why was this so bad? Like, I understand this is bad, but they even bring up Glenn, they even bring up other stuff, they bring up Carl, they bring up everything. Like not to be whatever, right? Monday morning quarterbacking, things like that, right? I expected whatever happened to be like really bad and to justify. Like, I thought the conflict was going to involve each of the different communities.
It would have made sense.
And like that's why now we just go our own ways and all that stuff. Or maybe like Michonne got outvoted and then everything went really bad and now she's like, no, I must be the one to vote, right?
So what?
Something clear, right? But like, oh, your kid almost died. Well, Carl just died. And like, yeah, she's the only thing left. But like Negan was like holding all of you hostage and like toying with your lives and like killed people in front of you. Like, even if you go all the way back to Andrea and the governor and like all that stuff, and she had those two zombie like pets and everything. She's been through like so many things. Why Why was this the thing that made this happen?
The reason this is the thing.
Are you going to defend this?
Well, I'm going to explain to you the rationale that I'm thinking they're using.
Yeah,
I won't say that it defends the point, but I can explain, I think, why.
I probably agree with what you're going to say.
So the rationale of this one and why this is such a bigger deal and stuff is because everything else, and yes, she has been through a lot, that has happened to her, has never been welcomed into her. She never said, okay, I accept you this, and like she never trusted something and it betrayed her. This is the first time that letting an outsider in is directly what caused the conflict and almost cost her all of her supplies, which would have meant everyone dying, her actual daughter, this was the first mistake that was her fault. And every other mistake was something that like she did the best she could and it just happened upon her. So this made her fully close off because she's like, well, I'm not letting another mistake happen.
So that's actually two things. One is like it's like on her because now she was the leader and all that stuff. That part I understand. And also like the betrayal aspect where she let them.
Because if you can't let in someone you knew in the real world into your life, you obviously can't trust a stranger you don't know into your area.
Yeah, but this seems so like
it's forced.
Yeah,
but that's the rationale they're going with.
I understand that, and like okay, so that's what I got from it was that she trusted someone from the outside and something went bad or whatever. It just seems like that must have happened.
The ultimate bad almost happened.
Yes, like it was someone so worthy of trust, and the bad thing was so bad, I guess, or something like that. But I still don't it still seems so.
Well, her new attitude of don't trust anyone, that's the attitude I think I would take just by default because
I know
the risk versus reward. What do I have here? I potentially die, and everyone I love dies, and I lose everything, or I don't get a potential ally. Fuck you, buddy. So sorry.
Well, no, but like that makes sense by itself separately and all that stuff too. But just looking around their community, that like the people in it were people that they met and had to trust and had to get to know or whatever.
Yeah.
And now she's like, yeah, your grandfather, and we're just gonna go.
Well, lightning striking twice. Is that whole thing like it's like yes, we've made the risk and it paid off, but eventually when you gamble, you're gonna lose. So I'm done gambling.
Yeah,
I'm stopping. Is her attitude.
Yeah, but lightning's not gonna strike twice. The next friend from high school that you meet is not going to be the leader of a murderous cult of kids. They're probably just going to be someone normal.
100% they won't be if you never let them in.
Well, yeah.
And I think and that's the whole thing. And I understand it.
Yeah.
I don't know that it's been done the way that I would necessarily do it. I feel like anytime you let someone in, even if you knew them before, there should be some crazy process of vetting where like, okay, no, you're going to be in this jail cell for a while.
Yeah.
We're going to let you out minimally to do these things. We're going to make sure we trust you. You okay with that? Because these are our terms. You don't have to come in. You can stay out there.
Right.
But honestly, I'd probably just be killing strangers because I can't risk that they're scouting, they're coming back, they're going to get me. This is a dog-eat-dog world they're living in.
That's the questions that like the show makes you ask, like intentionally. For like seasons now, I've been saying it, as like, mankind is the real monster and all that stuff. Like,
certainly.
It's hard to know who to trust. I feel like the people that show up have a hard time even trusting them, and that's how the whole thing goes or whatever, right? And that makes sense.
Well, there's no redos. And like you said with the Daryl thing with the arrow is like, yeah, you might betray me and I get a tiny cut on me and maybe it doesn't get infected and I die from it, but maybe I'm a hair slower the next time I have to do something.
Exactly.
And I wince a little bit and that's the opportunity that causes me to get killed. So, I can't risk anything.
So this and like this goes into that theme of the show of like surviving is more than just staying alive or whatever you want to call it or whatever, right? And I get that, right? I think most people would default to like your type of attitude that you're talking about right now, but then like eventually it's like, okay, we want to have a society and have people and like
they're very close in the amount of time after the apocalypse to being able to just have a normal life, I think.
Yeah.
Because you're going to start winding down on how many zombies there are. You're going to wind like the amount of people alive now are few and far between, but the ones that are alive are probably monsters because that's what it takes to survive.
Right.
So
well, I mean, our main characters are not monsters. There could be other people like them,
there certainly could be,
quote unquote, or whatever.
But I'm gonna wager that a lot of the survivors are kind of in some sort of a locked-in area and aren't going to be venturing around. And so by default now, and even most of the bad guys are probably not venturing around in a crazy way, and having such a little amount of people left, you're probably just going to not run into a lot of people until you've got a great infrastructure built back up. So I think like they're a few years away from it just being a really good place to live again.
No, and like you've got a good thing going. You can build stuff up. all those issues about trusting people and being betrayed and killed in your bed, those all exist in a world without zombies.
Sure.
It's just like we were, like the zombie world happens to happen right after the world full of like laws and Twitter and like life and all that stuff, right? So it just feels really contrasting.
Well, and like now you'd kill somebody, for like a lot of money to buy lots of things. But in this post-apocalyptic world, you'd kill someone for like, do you have gum?
Yeah.
Like, I've not had gum
fish?
in years.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, it's stupid things become, killable.
Like communication is really limited. Life's really brutal and bad and all that stuff. And like I like the show trying to make a case in the midst of all that for like building up humanity as a whole again and all that stuff. I find that really interesting. But yeah, this is not the way to do it. This episode was awful. Multiple times I was like, what? And like, out loud or in my head or something like that. I feel really, because where do we end up? Now we're back, quote unquote, where like we started. We've been teasing this whole time, this like dumb thing.
Yeah, we gained nothing.
And it was all this, right? So now she's like, yeah, and like they're going off to the.
It's nice to have the backfill and to know what it is.
Yeah.
It wasn't very awesome, but at least it's over. You don't have to worry about that looming or hanging over you or being some outside source of like, well, is there some other bad guy coming that you defeated and didn't actually defeat? Or, like, there's no looming things. It's a self-contained backdrop of an episode. And now we are on to the fair where I think some shit's about to happen.
Basically.
Well, we did end the button of the episode was the two zombie people.
I liked that they were pretending to be zombies, like more so. They were like like making noises and like walking, convincingly, and then they like snapped out of it. Again, I want to call out things that I didn't hate.
So they just found that was the kingdom they found, right?
What did they? I guess.
So that is the worst place for our actual heroes for them to find, because that's where the fair is about to happen. I'm picturing the attack happens during the movie, would be my guess.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Because everyone will have their mind on that. It'll be fucking.
You think the movie's outdoor or some?
I would wager it's totally outdoors.
Okay, so we have an outdoor thing, big screen projecting the movie, and then zombies come in, but they're alphas.
Yeah, the noise brings they obviously heard zombies toward them, but the noise of the movie is definitely going to rile them up and send them right to that, and they'll do something to breach the wall, and then they'll all get in.
And an interesting way would be for them to not even find out about them and just assume that like the movie did it or something like that, and have everybody be sad about movies or whatever.
Well, there's no reason not to later than just have them on the inside. But something it would crush me. But I think it could happen that something happens and they no longer have the ability to play movies, like they break the projector or something.
Probably.
Ah, so sad.
Yeah. And then this whole thing becomes like the movie wars or the projector, the Battle of Projector Hill. No, I agree. We have 2 episodes left, and obviously this has to come to a head. I forget if this is a show that has the climax in the episode before the finale, or if
I would wager it's going to be in the next episode. Is going to be the fair. The fair is going to get interrupted. You're going to see the war. It's going to end on a cliffhanger. The next episode will quickly resolve the cliffhanger in the first like 10 minutes, and then it'll be the rest of the episode of them like slowly montaging with how will we live with this thing. Oh no, how it's so hard.
Do you think somebody's going to die?
I think 2 or 3 people will die.
Do you think Henry's going to die?
I do not think Henry's going to die. I think she might die.
Do you think Lydia's going to die?
I think Lydia might die, killing her mother.
Oh, good. That would be nice. She can get close enough to her.
I think so. Just a shitty prediction.
Do you think Beta gets his rematch with Daryl?
Oh, most definitely.
Excellent.
Most definitely.
Ugh. Bunch of grunting and fighting.
I think Beta might kill Dog.
Okay. That makes sense. Do you think Negan's involved? Negan's at Alexandria. He's not leaving.
I do not think Negan is involved.
They're saving Negan for next season. Man.
The only way Negan would be involved would be if they made it a joint attack and they attacked all the civilizations at once.
He's like, let me out. Give me a bat.
Well, they actually might let him out, though, because they're like, enemy of my enemy is my friend.
Oh, like once they
and then he betrays them, but I'm not even sure he's going to be in the episode at all.
I don't think we have room or time for him or whatever, right?
That's not stopped them in the past.
That's true. Okay, no, this episode was like a travesty. Like I said before, when we found out that like Eugene's thing was like nothing, and they expected me to believe that, I was so upset, and I'm like, I hope they do something this time. Now I wish they hadn't done anything.
Eugene said something awesome in the flashback, and I can't remember what it was.
Points for dexterity.
Yes.
Yes. Oh yeah, they'd all been there before.
That's where they got the kids from.
That's the same place, right?
That's why it's so extra dumb. They didn't all go in force to save them.
So like my trying to be charitable to them, saying maybe they were in different search parties, like makes no sense.
Nope.
They literally went
There
out
was no
alone.
search party. It was just them. Yeah.
Yeah, they just went by
dumb.
themselves. That's the worst.
That's the worst, and that's this episode, guys. Let us know in the comments below what you thought about it. Don't die in a fire, and we'll see you next time.
Hello, internets. I just love watching JustDaggers. If you've enjoyed this video as much as I have, click that subscribe button. Peace out, homies.